Hello, we're back again, and we're looking at everyone's favourite science deniers, flat earthers, and their many, many memes. Because that's as good as an argument, right? There are two main rules for being a flat earther. Number one, gotta light a flirt. And number two, gotta post a load of idiotic memes. So let's dive right into it. First up is this image, where our flat earth friends believe these buildings should all be at a slight tilt. Scale, you're about to learn, is constantly the foe of the flat earther. So let's work this out. I believe this to be a photo of Dubai, but please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So what I've done is I measured out all along the coastline 74.64 kilometers, which is actually being very generous since I do not believe for a second that's what's being shown in this photo. Now, the Earth has a circumference of 40,075 kilometers. And as we are dealing with a sphere, we will divide that by 360. So we would expect a 1 degree change every 111.32 kilometers. Using my original coastline measurement, we would expect an angular tilt of 0.67 degrees. Except I was being really generous, and it's probably not even half of that. So once you do some really basic maths, this image, really not a problem. Next is all those dizzying speeds that all these flat earthers are so frightened of. First, let's look at that 1,000 mile per hour rotational speed. And we'll ignore for the moment that isn't how you would measure rotation. 1,000 miles per hour sounds a lot, but not for an object as big as the Earth. Draw a circle around yourself. How long do you think it would take you to turn 1/24 of that circle's circumference? How about this video of the rotating Earth? I hope this isn't going too fast for you. Although the odd thing is, this video is actually going too fast. 7.5 times faster than the Earth actually rotates. Now the next two speeds, orbiting the Sun at 67,000 miles an hour and travelling around the galaxy at 500,000 miles an hour. Now again, these do sound like big numbers, but when you take scale into account, they're really not that much. This is a common image that flat earthers like to use to represent the heliocentric model. It's not actually what scientists believe, and there are obvious problems with it. Notably, it's way too fast. It has the Earth going around the Sun every few seconds. But we know in reality, that takes a whole year. So let's slow it down to a more realistic speed. Better, but still way too fast. So, as I hope I've demonstrated, the speeds that flat earthers like to throw out are really not that big in the grand scheme of things. A nice quick one now. Why does Polaris appear to be stationary? Well, quite simply because space is 3D and Polaris is above us. And actually, it does move slightly, but it's very minute. Now, this image is just a mess. First, gravity. Now, the balloon burns gas, which generates heat, which fills the balloon, which making it lighter than the air around it, which is what allows it to rise. When you turn that gas off, it stops generating that heat, and the balloon falls. In no way is gravity disproved by this picture. I have no idea how this is supposed to be disproving Coriolis. The Coriolis effect is the movement of objects that aren't firmly connected to the ground, but it doesn't work like a strong wind. So these balloons shouldn't just be flying all over the place. So again, I've got no idea how this is evidence against it. As for curvature, you would need to get up to about 40,000 feet before you could any visible sort of detection of the Earth curvature, because Earth very big, you very small. So this image is failure on 3 counts. Good job. And finally, we have an appeal to common sense. The problem with common sense, though, is that it's a relatively subjective. My common sense, for example, would tell me you wouldn't elect a complete moron as the most powerful man in the world. But yet, it happens. So, yeah. It is a pretty picture, though. I'll give it that. So there you have it. A brief look into the world of flat earth memes. No doubt we will come back to this again at some point. There's always new stuff to cover. But until then, enjoy this weird and wonderful life.